Valerie Parke speaking on analyzing a research article by Charlotte Neuhauser, who has a PhD in project management and has written extensively on project management. This article was submitted to the Project Management Journal, and the Project Management Journal is the official journal of the Project Management Institute, an organization located in the United States. Articles submitted to Project Management Journal are double-blind reviewed, and I have included a link at the bottom of this slide if you'd like to learn more about the strengths and weaknesses of the double-blind review process. I chose this article because Charlotte is definitely an expert on project management, and I, the reader, am an absolute novice. I have 5 weeks of experience as a project manager, and the purpose of this article captivated my interest and is clearly stated on page 21 to determine the most important leadership and managerial behaviors for project managers as perceived by female project managers, and to ascertain the frequency with which these behaviors are practiced by female project managers. And the 4 questions that are to be answered are clearly stated at the beginning of the research article, and really question number 1 about commonly recognized leadership and managerial behaviors is the question that I was most interested in reading. I enjoyed this article in that it had a very clear structure to it. It began with an excellent literature review, and I say excellent because the articles that were included were ones that we are familiar with, articles by Blake and Mouton, Goldman, Fiedler, Bass, Burns, Avolio. And the survey that was created had 50 questions, and the questions were grouped according to transformational leadership, transactional leadership, and managerial skills, heavily weighted, however, towards transformational leadership, as can be seen by the 41-to-9 split in questions. The survey was emailed out. 62 people, self-selected, all women, who are members of the Project Management Institute, reported data, and the data appears in 8 tables. The trends are defined as behaviors of female managers. The article shows that there's a higher incidence of transactional behaviors in women managers and lower transformational leadership behaviors. The data that's presented is very interesting, and we can talk more about this later when we discuss this article. And the data is interesting in that the author doesn't really ever seem to draw on the data and makes a final conclusion that really doesn't match up with the data that is presented. In her final conclusion, she states 50% of women feel women managers are perceived as having less organizational commitment and professional capability than their male counterparts. And she quotes a Conference Board of Canada report to substantiate that. And it takes a fair bit of digging in the data in this article to find where that conclusion came from. And it is evident, but it doesn't seem from the data presented to be the truly key point of this article. I don't think that Neuhauser answered 3 of her 4 questions, and that she should have focused more on the first question and produced more information on that, or observations on that. My conclusions are that it's important to sniff out the true motive of someone's research, to consider the limitations of survey construction and self-reporting. There was no evidence that this survey was tested. I think self-reporting has some issues. Gender bias exists. I think realizing that and accounting for it is important, and that situational leadership should also be considered when evaluating leader performance, to consider the environments in which it occurs. I don't think I'll read anything more by Charlotte, but I do think reading more material from the Conference Board of Canada and on project management leadership generally would be of value to